And behold, one came and said unto him, Good master, what good thing shall I do, that I may have eternal life? And he said unto him, Why callest thou me good? There is none good but one, that is, God. But if thou wilt enter into life, keep the commandments. He said unto him, Which? Jesus said, Thou shalt do no murder. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness. Honor thy father and thy mother, and thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. The young man said unto him, All these things have I kept from my youth up. What lack I yet? Jesus said unto him, If thou wilt be perfect, go and sell that thou hast, and give to the poor, and thou shalt have treasures in heaven, and come and follow me. But when the young man heard that saying, he went away sorrowful, for he had great possessions. This passage illustrates the power material possessions have over us. Imagine, even if someone offered you eternal life and you believed them, it would still be so difficult for an individual with great possessions to detach themselves from them. The way minimalism will not make you a holy person with promises of divine riches. It makes no promises of having transformative power. Yet it does. That transformative power has little to do with the way and much more to do with you. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Americans responded by buying, and buying. And although a degree of preparedness was necessary, it was our programming that told us to do what our foreign manufacturers have programmed us to do best. Buy, purchase, consume. The government itself couldn't stand on its own 2 feet. It had to buy, and buy. Yes, of course, with good cause, we needed life-saving supplies. But we buy too much, we eat too much, we consume too much. And the one thing we fail to do is follow the way of minimalism. Don't confuse the way with laziness, lack of participation in society, absolute indifference, social movements, trending lifestyles. The way is a state of mind. It has no race, no gender, no political agenda. Psychology mentions that there are 4 states of mind: thinking and engaged, critical, and autopilot. It categorizes thinking and engaged as helpful and critical and autopilot as harmful. Thinking and critical are internal, while engaged and autopilot are external. If allowed to, the way will permeate these 4 states of mind. The notion that the aesthetics of minimalism should be simple, small spaces, free of clutter and redundancy are more in relation to classic understandings of minimalism as a trend. The way demands establishing new priorities. Yes, with a new set of priorities, your lifestyle begins to change, and your life begins to look different to those looking in. But let's not confuse the way with what author Kyle Chayka writes about in The Oppressive Gospel of Minimalism. And I quote, "It has become an ostentatious ritual of consumerist self-sacrifice. People who have it all now seem to prefer having nothing at all. And as with watching birds or going paleo, talking about the material purge is just as important as actually doing it. So there are blogs in which you can see minimalism's can-do optimism curdled into something tyrannical. End quote. This brand of minimalism is not what is being discussed. Rather, the author goes on to say, and I quote, "Minimalism was eventually canonized as an art historical movement, but the name came to mean something different as it was adopted into consumer culture and turned into a class signifier. What was once a way of artists shocked viewers became over the decades a style as delimited and consumable as any Martha Stewart tablescape. To wealthy practitioners, minimalism is now little more than a slightly intriguing perversion, like drinking at breakfast." End quote. Rather, here we have been discussing and dealing with our feelings, thoughts, and emotions, our material nature and our spiritual nature, illusions, detachment from emotions and illusions, and how they are weaponized and used against us. You see, the way is a tool against poverty, corruption, greed, vice, desires that lead us to our shadow self or to the dark side of our minds. The way focuses on needs rather than wants, but makes use of moderation rather than absolute rejection of our nature. The quest for knowledge and understanding is a want we should listen to, but with a healthy intent. There are many wants that with the right intent can be used and be useful to you and the world you are a part of. Why should you consider reflecting over the principles mentioned here in the way? The way is a life of virtue and moderation over vice and consumption. Our Western world, in particular, has indulged in its wants, gorged in goods and services, spoon-fed the ego, made itself into a black hole, quickly engulfing the planet into abyss. The way is a revolutionary notion. The way is a revolution, not in and of itself, but when compared to our modern, everyday existence. The shutdown, triggered by the COVID-19 pandemic, allows us a moment in time to make a decision. Continue with our patterns of self-destruction, or reach out to our spiritual nature. Thank you for watching.